Welcome back. Now I'm gonna give the floor to Fabio, who will be hosting the panel around protecting people in hospitals, factories and sports. So over to you, Fabio.
Thank you, Thomas. It's an honor to be here together with our panelists. Welcome back to the Quuppa Virtual Partner Event. And in this panel discussion, we are going to be focusing on safety. So safety is a great topic. It's something that really span across different meaning, and depending on the vertical market you are coming from. And in this panel discussion, we have really three great panelists coming from very different backgrounds and very different vertical markets. And we think that this should make the discussion very, very interesting for everybody online. So we have from GWA, we have Tobias. From Mindsight, we have Alejandro. And from Nagi, we have Fernando. But before we get deep into the topic, I'd love to give you a minute for introducing yourself, where you're from, what's your title, and what your company is doing. Tobias, please, if you want to start.
Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot for having me here. So I'm Tobias Gebhardt. I'm CEO of GWA Hygiene. We are a company based in the northern part of Germany, and our specific focus is patient safety, infection prevention. So we have developed IoT solutions for infection prevention in hospitals. And I'm happy to discuss here, more detail, all the other topics. Looking forward.
Welcome, Tobias. Alejandro, do you want to take it next?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Fabio and Quuppa. I'm Alejandro Madrigal. I'm from Spain, working in Madrid for Indra, which is the first technological company in Spain. Concretely, I'm working in Mindsight in the unity for digital solutions, where we are building new solutions from scratch. And in this case, covering the topic of safety and how to prevent occupational hazards in heavy industrial environments.
Welcome. Thank you, Alejandro. And Fernando, floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everybody. Fabio, thank you very much. Quuppa, for this opportunity. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Fernando Góngora. I'm the Vice President for Sales and Marketing for Nagi Smart Pool. Nagi is a brand within our group of company called Zonix, in which we have developed a safety solution for swimming activity. Originally, we were a sports company that did different developments based on tracking and RTL's technology for a number of applications in performance tracking. We tripped upon this window of opportunity regarding safety, and we've developed a system for detection of potential drownings in swimming pools. So I hope our contribution is relevant to the point of safety on this STEAM panel.
Wow, this is fantastic. I mean, I'm so excited to have you all here because as you can hear, all these three panelists really come from different worlds, one from healthcare, one from industrial, one from sport and well-being, and but yet they have a commonality. There is a common ground, which is safety. So why don't we start by defining safety? So what is it safety in your domain? And I'm just going to pick random just to keep it more interesting so that you don't know which one I'm going to call up. Is that okay? So Alejandro, why don't I start with you? Can you define what is safety in your domain?
Yeah, sure. For us, safety is mainly about the real-time prevention of occupational hazards in really and highly risky environments, industrial environments, especially when people and vehicles are sharing same space at the same time. Just for think on civil engineering, think on construction, forestry, and so on. And on those spaces where there are high risks or important risk for persons, individually speaking, like when you are in a confined areas, when you have danger because of elements through there. Safety is as well about the ability to track and trace and evaluate the compliance of the companies. For us as well, it's not only how to prevent real-time incidents, but as well to understand, globally speaking, if the compliance is being accomplished by employees. And finally, to understand global pictures of risks, to give a map, the full picture of risk to a safety manager, to occupational hazards responsible in a company.
Great. And if I understand right, so safety for you, it's something that combines also a little bit with surveillance and security. Is this a fair assessment?
Yeah, correct. We need to understand what's happening in the real time. We need to assess the risk. So that's the surveillance part, but then we need to understand the global pictures to be able to take good decisions for the future, for the continuous improvement in a company.
Fantastic, thank you. Fernando, how about you? Coming from the sport domain, the well-being, how is safety for you defined?
Well, not at all dissimilar in the essence, in the philosophic approach to what safety means to our business opportunity in this case. Is basically all those scenarios that propose a situation of risk, life endangering or accidents, incidents, anything that basically compromises the welfare of a potential user or a potential, practicant of a given activity. In our case, is the swimming field. And we would define the safety arena in all those scenarios in which any activity that can favor either early detection, prevention, or anticipation, as well as a complement for existing monitoring routines, can be implemented and enhanced for enhanced prospects of avoiding those unpleasant, for sure, and at some point even life-threatening situations that might develop in a swimming environment, while doing the activity of swimming. That's the core. There's further applications when it comes to other aspects of safety that can be developed later, and as we are learning, further applications like social distance and on this COVID environment, etc. Some other complementary applications are now being developed for that field of preventing risk and avoiding unpleasant and unnecessary risky situations during the course of an activity. In our case, swimming.
Absolutely, and probably for you, it's not just about what's happening in the water, in the pool itself, but there is an entire facility there that could be monitored. There are security related use case or surveillance related use case related to people that might attend or just view what is happening in the pool during, for instance, sport event, or just looking at their kids performing in the pool for training.
Surveillance, dynamic management of those spaces, access control, those kind of areas are also clear applicability areas for the technology we deploy.
Fantastic, thank you, Fernando. And Tobias, I mean, healthcare, it's definitely a very, very relevant market where there is a lot of security, surveillance, safety. Can you please walk us through your definition of all of this? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, as a patient, you want to go to a hospital to get a treatment to be healthier afterwards, right? That's actually the intention of going into a hospital. But unfortunately, that's not happening all the time, because when you go there and you acquire a hospital-acquired infection, then that's a big burden for you as a patient, for relatives, but even for the healthcare workers. So patient safety means we have to find some solutions how we can prevent patients to get an infection. And I mean, we have all somehow experienced that now during the COVID-19 time, that we have to better understand also infection chains. So how are infections transmitted? Yeah, contact tracing is one big buzzword we have learned all. And for that reason, we have developed tools and we are using location technology to better understand the transmission paths of germs, of infections, because then you have to do that prevention. So nowadays, it's still a lot of reaction when you have infections, but the future is prevention. And for that, we need technology, and that's how we define safety in a hospital environment.
That's a great way to define it, and actually your answer is bridging me to my next question. That is the fact that once we define the problem, and clearly safety is not something that we have invented today. Safety has been around for many decades, And in the different vertical markets, there has been different initiatives to try to provide safety or security to people and workers operating within those facilities. And the case of healthcare is a pretty intuitive one, because I believe everyone has visited an hospital at some point of their life. And of course, you want to go in, but when you come out, you want to feel much better, as you said, that when you actually went into the hospital. But no one can deny that there is a lot of diseases or a lot of other sick people that can move around those facilities. So safety and prevention for those diseases to spread is fundamental. So we know that hand hygiene has been around for decades. I mean, actually, it's probably a 19th or a century or even earlier kind of adoption as an idea to wash your hand between visiting patients. So can you tell us now, in the 21st century, how can technology and safety for hand hygiene come together to provide better solution for the market? So what's the opportunity and the challenges that hand hygiene faces in the 21st century?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, people are aware that hand hygiene is the tool to prevent the transmission of infections. That's in theory. But in the hospital, actually, you still face the challenge that only every second hand disinfection is actually done. So there's only a compliance for hand hygiene of 50% roundabout. And the problem is that healthcare workers often overrate themselves. So they think they are better than they actually are. And then when you have the infection control teams and saying, please do the hand hygiene, the hand washing carefully, then they say, I already know that. But when you don't have the data, it's really hard to convince them to change the behavior, to focus more on the hand hygiene. And for that reason, we say just talking about doesn't work. We need reliable data. We need to analyze the processes to show them, like the doctors, here doctors, see that is your hand hygiene compliance rate. And it decreased during the last 2-3 weeks. You have to improve again to get to a higher level. And for that reason, we need technology, we need data, because it's still a big challenge. So just one more number. Globally, every year, 60 million people die because of hospital-acquired infections. So that's the whole population of the Netherlands. And you can say that up to 90% of infections are transmitted via hands. So it's obvious that we have to do the hand hygiene, but we still have to increase the awareness on a sustainable level. And for that, data and technology is necessary.
Thank you, Tobias. This is very interesting and definitely backed up by some very concrete number. So Fernando, how about in the domain of sport and swimming? I think that definitely safety is an important factor, but also how do you make the people adopt the technology? It can be a challenge and an opportunity. So how do you see this for you?
Okay, if I just go for a very, very quick listing of the basic challenges we find, and I think anybody trying to implement technology or sell a technological solution faces very quickly. First one is awareness, the need of whether they need any solution or not. In our case, and kind of ironically, we've got that going for us at least. The level of awareness about the risks inherited to the activity on swimming is high enough. Sadly, you know, swimming, drowning is now ranking the statistics of being the leading unintentional, say by accident or non-disease related unintentional cause of death in the world is attributed to drowning. There's 372,000 average drownings per year. That is one every, 42 per hour every day of the year on a global scale. So the average swimming pool operator is well aware of the need to have a safety solution to offer the users. So in that respect, awareness is an easy enough burden we jump over. The next one is that conviction that the current existing traditional systems are good enough and probably efficient and not as complex, or certainly, the element of cost and the expensive element of a technology solution is is another one we need to overcome, and trying to show the optimal equation and the added value and the potential enormous savings, if nothing else reputational, that, you know, seriously reliable technology that is not in replacement or in conflict with any solutions adopted today, but in combination as a complement to whatever other safety protocols are in place for the activity of swimming. That's the second challenge for us, along with the cost and the budget, classic one. But Tobias did mention an element which is basically the one that we focus more efforts in, and we try to make all the difference, which is the change of behavior, the adoption. That element of changing the mindset and the routines in place for protocols that are designed for decades and that are very stable and perceived as sufficient, how to incorporate this new system and this new way to go about the monitoring activity and the surveillance activity. That's the element where we believe the biggest challenge lies, and where we put all the effort in trying to make the difference, which is increasing the adoption rates, demonstrating that a good implementation and a good utilization of a technology complement is very easy, and it defines a whole new standard and a whole new status of peace of mind when it comes to safety and prevention of incidents. So awareness, costing, complexity, and then adoption, change of behavior. That's what we think as our agenda of challenges.
Thank you, Fernando. This is very interesting, and also you were able to kind of back up with some very concrete and scary numbers. So definitely there is a room for technology to help us in that front. And you also brought up this combination of technology with the human adoption, the human factor. So Alejandro, from your perspective for industrial, so do you see also a kind of human factor be involved into the technology adoption? And what are, from your side, the challenges and opportunity in trying to change the safety or working environment in an industrial site? Oh, Alejandro, we lost you.
Yeah, sorry. I was saying that people is key for us as well, the change management process, the adoption of the technology. But let's say that we are starting a little bit earlier on that. Why? Because at the end, we are working with a stakeholder safety department that usually they haven't seen digitalization, digital transformation able for their business. So we need to go a step behind and start to educate, to communicate on what are the benefits, what are the technology doing today, how they can be benefiting of this, and trying to convince them, first of all, on the acquisition or at least testing this kind of solution for their purpose. Secondly, I think that the room for improvement is enormous, it's tremendous for us. Last year, only in Spain, there were something like a little bit more of 160,000 accidents with elements in motion. So I'm not talking with the car and outside of your business, of your companies. I'm talking just within the companies that suppose more or less 15 billions in loss for companies, for governments, and the cost of opportunity is even higher, with something close to 60 billion euros valorized by the governments and international organizations. So saying this, I think that there is a huge room for improvement for us. We have to start at the beginning from education. We have to start not only talking with people, but first of all with the stakeholders, to understand that technology, IoT, Internet of Things, and real-time location system are here to help them and to provide a solution for a crucial problem today in the society, as injuries or even casualties in working time.
Very interesting. This is a great discussion, and I see you already touching so many different points that I almost embarrass on what's going to be my next question, because you have triggered so many questions in my mind. But let me give it a try. So what I heard throughout this discussion is that there are some very concrete numbers that make up why safety is important across. Safety has been around for a long time, but now lending the technology to complement safety, making it more efficient, more relevant, more specific to target the problem, it's an opportunity and a challenge. And one of the challenge, it's like always money, budget. And I think that all of you have pretty much touched upon that. So my next question for Fernando is like, okay, we have identified that there is a need. We have identified that there is an opportunity to land a novel technology. But how do you, from your perspective, can tackle this problem of bringing technology into a vertical and marrying all of that with the support for having a good return of investment, a good budget that is approved by the end customer in order to get started? Meaning, is safety alone a strong enough use case, or do you also need to combine it with other use cases in order to make a compelling offering? It's a broad question, I realize, but Fernando, what do you think?
Well, the safety aspect by itself and the awareness and the requirement of the need by itself, it could be argued is compelling enough. But it's definitely an advantage if you find a way to, for all the reasons you listed, basically when it comes to that multiplier effect of additional benefits, the perception of complementary value gets greatly enhanced when you add other functionalities and other solutions that are gradually more distant from the safety benefit aspect, and you incorporate other layers of value. In the case of talking about preventing fatal situations, it definitely helps to sweeten and to kind of make the message a lot more digestible emotionally if you complement the safety proposition with any other elements which are a lot more happy, if you know what I mean. So
can you give us an example of
any
that?
proposition for gamification, and since we have, as creative, restless Quuppa users, we have managed to get a tracking position on the map. There's plenty more things we can do apart from providing any drowning algorithm that detects the device, you know, the tag being underwater for over a predetermined period. So we've found enormous fortune and much higher return and an enormous ease of conviction for the potential prospect if we offer performance metrics. We are now able to compute lengths in the water, time swimming, average speed, time resting, all those extra elements that make a swimming performance tracking product for swimmers, along and on top and wrapping up the core safety proposition, make the offer a lot more compelling, a lot more attractive. The opportunity to scale the revenues and the revenue stream opportunities that can derive for such activities via subscription or extra added value for the users and so on is phenomenal. So in our personal experience, the recommendation would, you know, is a no-brainer. Combine your core safety aspect with other possibilities, with further applications for value. It's always a winner. So that's definitely what we are doing. And we keep developing new things to complement the safety proposition as the best approach.
Thank you, Fernando. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, to come in from a gamification angle, making it fun for them to use and give safety in the tail of all of that. So Tobias, how does it work in healthcare? How is hand hygiene and safety coming? Is it a strong enough argument for a healthcare system, or does it typically need to be complemented with other use cases?
Well, you have to know that if you have an infection as a hospital, then you have additional cost. Yeah, and there are different numbers between 10 and 20,000 euros per infected patient. And of course, that's especially as a hospital, an additional risk for them, yeah, from an economic perspective. And for that reason, you have to reduce infection rates, because if you have an infected patient, then he stays longer, he needs an isolated room, so you really lose money with that. And for that reason, it really makes sense to invest in patient safety, because it's also reputation. Yeah, if you are known as a hospital where a lot of hospital-acquired infections, you don't really want to go there as a patient. And for that reason, it's also somehow a marketing tool to invest in prevention and patient safety. But of course, hospitals are a little bit afraid of buying isolated systems. So they don't really like redundant infrastructures. So, and if you can show them you can invest into an infrastructure and then different use cases can be combined, then this is a really big advantage in the sales process.
Great, great. Yeah, definitely a completely different angle than sport, but yet very compelling for the end customer to adopt, and plenty of reason why they should do so. So Alejandro, how is it in industrial environment otherwise? Is it a mix between sport of healthcare, or is a standing alone market where there are other reasoning why people would need to embrace safety?
Yeah, here companies are very rational on the requirements, on the investments, and what we see is that safety is a major topic for companies today. So it's one of the principal values in the strategy: profitability, customer satisfaction, sales, and so on are key. Always has been key, but today nowadays we are seeing that safety is a major pillar on this strategy. So it's on the agenda today how to address a solution for these issues. So in this case, we can see that safety is binary. I mean, we have safety or we haven't. So we have a safer environment, or we have mainly casualties, or even or other topic, or other type of accidents. But saying that, once you have invested in a technology, it is key and crucial for companies to try to benefit on it, to try to invest on new use cases, and to take advantage of the technology, of the benefits of the technology. So we are experimenting today's productivity requirements, how we can address not only a solution for security issues, but even who can we benefit, since we are track and tracing all the people, all the workers, even vehicles. Is it possible to address a specific productivity solution for this kind of issues? How we can address a work order more accurately to a worker? How we can benefit of knowing where people is to redirect these orders even better than we did today? How we can get more benefits from this solution to make people more productive, and at the end be able to take different opportunities and benefit from different opportunities that this kind of solution is giving to them.
That's great, and what I read in between the lines of all of you is the fact that safety, of course, and security or surveillance is about data, is about collecting the data and knowing what is happening. But knowing that is not enough. It's also important to know where is happening, and that's where location somehow come into the picture. So what I'm thinking of is like there is undoubtful that in all of this vertical market, there is a need for more safety to make people either come back to work or feel safe while they are at work or in a certain environment. So can you tell me how in your experience, since all of you have a project under their belt and you have discussion all around the market, how does data and location like RTLS come together in order to further complement safety, and how you have seen that as a trigger to accelerating market adoption for safety related use cases? So Alejandro, why don't you start?
Yeah. So for us, it's our experience. It's based on mainly how we can understand the global context. I mean, at the end, it's not only how to benefit from real-time location systems, just to know where people is and how to address real-time responses, but at the same time to understand, as I was saying at the beginning, the global picture. So this means that you need to act now when there is a potential accidents or risky situations. So you need to actuate to inform people involved, just to take enough time to prevent that situation. But secondly, you need to, we are giving a global overview to understand the global situation, the global picture. So what are the black holes in in the plant, for instance? Where are the major problems? What are the specific behaviors, the specific patterns we are identifying through data? And at the end, this benefits these safety managers just to understand what the global problem is, but as well to understand individually what is the problem of each one, so they can give the correct pill to everyone and not provide a global solution, global education, global information, but just to go with a specific tailored solution for each individual.
Right. Thank you, Alejandro. Fernando, how about you? How do you see this coming together?
Well, in that respect, it's kind of ironic looking back to the recent times and see how the COVID scenario has created a very clear opportunity in which further developments that were not part of the initial solution or the initial vision of providing a safety solution for the swimming activity. And on the most craven moment of confinement and closures and all activities interrupted and the ability to keep providing services to users was not there because they were literally locked down. Some installations, and there's been very inspiring examples in which some installations have managed to send the government a statement that did convince the authorities for an earlier release and back to resumption of activity in leisure recreational facilities with swimming pool, because we had incorporated some dynamic access control system, some distance between users, and some contact tracing. That package, which we developed ironically and not happily on the overall impact on any business this situation has had, but how quickly a constant mindset of creativity for RTLS possible applications has developed into a solution that has completely accelerated the return to normality on a problem, not only on permission level, on the sort of formal authority to reopen, but also in sending a message to users that your return to the activity will be safer and it can happen with full peace of mind because there's now RTLS based technology solutions that give you a level of evidence that you can do it on a relatively much safer than in absence of technology. So I think that illustrates very well how extra possibilities can be deployed from RTLS.
Okay, brilliant. And how about you, Tobias? How do you see that coming along for the healthcare system, safety and location? And since Fernando, I'm going to go back to Alejandro asking about COVID, but since Fernando brought in the COVID, I would be interested, Tobias, if you could also address that component.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. So
yeah, Tobias, please, and then we go to Alejandro.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so basically hospitals, they have own infection control teams. And that teams, they spend up to 50% of their working time on collecting data. And let me give you one example. So for example, they are going into a patient room, they have paper and pen, and then they're doing observations. For example, if a doctor is approaching the patient bed without the hand disinfection before, and then they're doing some check marks. And all that is based on paper and pen. And with RTLS, we can automize that, yeah, because we can see if doctors are moving around in a patient room, going to a patient without using the hand disinfectant before. And then we can really reduce the manual work of collecting data, because our motivation is it to just push a button and then they know where's infection risk, what they have to do, for example, doing a training. And that, of course, becoming more, also, there are other hospital-acquired infections. It's not only COVID. So, and of course, now the awareness increased, but some infection control doctors also said that we have neglected all the other infections because it's not only COVID. And we have to increase awareness again. And for that reason, yeah, we have to facilitate the daily work of the infection control teams and to increase awareness with technology.
Fantastic. Yeah, wow, that's true. That's a very interesting angle on how it all comes together. And Alejandro, how about for industrial? How is COVID part of this equation?
I think it's important as well, but companies has a very good policies to control COVID. They have weekly basis analysis for people to understand specifically the level of contagion they could have eventually in one moment in the plant. Saying this, I think that COVID and the ability to give a response, at least on the global overview of the situation, thanks with you, with Quuppa, we are able to understand where people is, what has been the level of contact within the people in the plant, which so we can follow the contact footprint. We can understand where people have been, if they have shared a room, if they have been, what people have been in behind of a specific person, just to understand again that contact footprint. So at the end, this is very key for them, and as well as productivity, to be able to respond to different deals, to different challenges they have today, and COVID is another one. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. So what I hear from everybody is really the fact that location and the data content coming together, it really kind of spurs out a new opportunity for building new type of solution that could engage the end customer and the user of those solutions to really feel like adopting what this technology can offer them. So, and of course, the quality of the data, both location data and content data, needs to be reliable, because some of those decisions that you are taking on the safety part needs to be based on facts, not just guesses. So this is all exciting. I could stay here for a long time, continue asking and digging more across the different market, but maybe I come to my last question for all of you, which is we have assessed that safety, security, surveillance, they all kind of merge together, and different vertical markets elaborate different kind of solution, but the underneath reasoning is the same, is to make people is to take care of the people within the environment in which they are and operating. So my question, maybe starting from Fernando, is like, how do you see safety and RTLS jointly shaping this market in the future?
Well, as I mentioned at the beginning, the biggest challenge we face when it comes to that final kick that makes it a reality is adoption, is making sure the final user engages with a level of comfort and familiarity with the proposal that makes it a reality. For that challenge, we just put behind endless reserves of support and human wrapping. You know, the initial reticence typically leads from the fear of the unknown and the intimidation coming from something that means technology and is not necessarily related to the world of sports and leisure, where you go to switch off from technology and to leave your computer behind, so to speak. So just making sure that the experience becomes friendly to the final user and facilitating all the little steps towards an adoption which is painless and friendly is where we concentrate most of our efforts these days, and that's where we see the future as, you know, make or break for us is succeeding on that. So we'll keep focusing.
Fantastic, thank you. Alejandro, why don't you go next?
Yeah, I think that it's the right combination. I mean, at least for our value proposition, there is no safety without the real-time location. I mean, you can go to a traditional way when you observe the reality, you know, well, real events based on real facts, also something that has happened. So you have just one specific part of the global photo, no? Based on the reality that has happened in the past. Here with the technology, what we are benefiting is to offer the clients a global overview, even those things that they really don't know, because traditionally they couldn't observe everything. They couldn't invest in people through all the plants, investigating and seeking what's happening there. Now with technology, that solution is already automatized. They can get all the information from from all the activity of their employees. They can know precisely when there has been risky situation. They can understand when has been high potential risky situation. So just go and focus on those problems. Saying this, I think that the matter of the major issue with real time is just awareness, information, as Fernando said, user experience of the workers, the people that are going to use the solution. Make it easy for them, make it understandable, be clear and transparent about what are your objectives, why are you using real-time location system for track and trace them, the global day at job, and be very transparent on what the information you are monitoring and what that you're going to do with that information, what are the benefits for the company, the benefits globally for everyone.
Very interesting. Thank you, Alejandro. And Tobias, how about the future of healthcare with safety and RTLS?
Yeah, one last number from my side. So there will be a lack of 15 million healthcare workers by 2030. And of course, when you have a lack of healthcare workers, then the existing healthcare workers, they have even more stress because they have less time for the treatments at the patient. And then, of course, it will be also a disadvantage for hygiene. So we really believe that we have to make the daily routines of healthcare workers easier. And RTLS is the key technology to make that happen, because there are still a lot of inefficient processes in there. And we believe that we have to make it more smart with technology in order to facilitate the daily routines of healthcare workers. And that will be
that's very cool. Yeah, I agree. So it seems that we are gonna, in the future, give a new pair of eyes to every vertical market to be able to collect more and more data. And then, of course, there is the challenge to make sense out of this data so that people can promptly react when there is an hazardous situation or situation where someone needs to intervene. And then, of course, at the same time, make the overall offer proposition compelling for people to have fun with the technology and at the same time to be safe and draw some benefits in using that. So I would love to thank you all. This has been a fantastic panel. I've learned a lot out of this discussion, and it's amazing how these different vertical market, they have anyway such a commonality underneath of safety, RTLS, and be able to know what is happening and where. And so thank you very much for everybody, and please remain and follow the Quuppa Partner event. Thank you all. Thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Fabio, and the panelists. It's a wrap for today and for the week, but we will be back next week on Tuesday with some exciting topics and really going more through about how location innovation is materialized within the Quuppa offering, what we do, and going a bit further even beyond that. Fabio will be sharing some insights around the innovation that Quuppa is doing. Industry focus for next week will be around smart office, and also there's some interesting panel discussions around hybrid RTLS, a buzzword that you hear about more and more. So really looking forward to next week. But enjoy the weekend. You can watch the recordings from today and the previous days on your own spare time, and see you next week.